friends, I'm Anissa and I'm back with another video. Today I wanted to share with you a new type of video on my channel that is inspired by Sarah from the Bookish Knitter. At the very least, she did one of these videos last year, I believe, where she was talking about her old Kindle books, and then she decided to pick a book out of that, where the first section that she was talking about that she hadn't been reading, and decided to read that. And for me, this is going to be somewhat the same. I am just going to be picking 3 books that I'm adding to my June TBR. So yeah, this is called What's on My Kindle, and I'm just gonna go from the oldest to the newest. And so we'll see how many books we're going to be talking about today, because I definitely have a lot of books. Of the oldest books I read more or less immediately when I got them, so the majority of those books I have read, but there are definitely some that I haven't. So we'll look into it and see what I'm going to be adding to my TBR for June. And how you can see this, if you aren't aware, you can go onto Amazon.com, and on your user you can pick manage content and devices, and in there you will be able to see all of the purchases on your Kindle, and you can sort it from oldest to newest, and that way you will definitely be able to figure that out. So let's start out with the beginning. I got my first Kindle, I got that back in 2012. For Christmas I got it as a company gift from my workplace at the time. We were given this Kindle, and along with the Kindle we got 3 book of choices, although one of them had to be this specific book, and I'll talk about it in a minute. So the first book I got was Vampire Academy by Rachel Mead. This is the first ever Vampire Academy book, and I have obviously read it. I've also reread it, and I have all of the books in physical form now. But I started out by reading these books from my Kindle, and so that was the first ever book I read from my Kindle, and I'm very happy I read it. The 3 books that I got for my deal was The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Powerful Lessons in Personal Change by Stephen R. Covey. So that was obviously the book that we had to get. That was one of them, or at least we had to get it somewhere. We could also get a physical copy of it if we wanted to, but I was not super interested in it in that way, so I just got it from the ebook. And I have read passages from this one, but I haven't read all of it because I wasn't very interested in it, and I'm not going to read the remainder. I mean, I think it has some good tools for your workplace, but overall it was just something I had to read for my work kind of thing. Alongside with that book I got Frostbite, which is the second Vampire Academy book, and I'm very happy I got that, obviously, because then I continue with the reading. I'm pretty sure I finished the first book the 31st of December or something like that year, so I wanted to get the second book immediately, and so I got that one. Then I also got Hex Hall by Rachel Hawkins, and I also read this one and very much enjoyed it. The next one is one I haven't read, and it was very fun when I saw it recently, because it's a Harlequin. It is called Waking Up Married by Myra Lynn Kelly. I got this as a freebie one time, because it was free on Kindle back then. And yeah, this is one of the Harlequin Kiss books, and this is a discontinued line. I don't know when it stopped publishing, but obviously if I'm continuing, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be continuing with my Harlequin project. After I finish the current lines, I'm going to go diving into the discontinued lines as much as I can, and this one will definitely be one of those books on my TBR for that. Next up I got Wait For You by Elizabeth Norton. This is the first book I read by Elizabeth Norton, and I absolutely loved it. I gave it 5 stars. It's a romantic suspense, and our main heroine, she has lost her memory. She doesn't remember anything, and so she's trying to figure out what's going on, and finds out that her husband is probably not who he seems to be. And it was very, very exciting. I read that it's so fast. Next up I also have I got Worth the Wait by Mara Jacobs, and this one is definitely one that didn't work for me. I think I gave it 2.5 stars. This is a contemporary romance. It follows this girl who feels like she's overweight and is trying to lose weight, and this is sort of a talk about that period from her, and as well as finding a romance story with a personal trainer, I think. I didn't love this one, definitely, and I haven't continued with the series. So next up I got 10 Shades of Sexy, which is an anthology of yeah, smutty romance stories, I think. No, I think it's a different... I don't think all of them were very steamy. I don't remember this, but I'm pretty sure I remember reading this, at least the majority of it. And I don't think that all of them were smutty, but definitely some of them were. Then I got The One You Love by Paul Pilkington, another freebie. I read this one also, I don't remember exactly when, I think it was 2015 or 14. And I gave it, I think, 3 out of 5 stars. I also got Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I have obviously read this one. I read half of this one. I read the majority, after the whole book in audio form later on with my physical book corresponding to it. I gave it 3 stars. It's not my favorite or anything. And then I got another Harlequin romance, and that is called Hired by the Cowboy by Donna Allward. I forgot if I added this to my Harlequin romance TBR that's coming up after Presents, but you'll have to look into that. But I'm definitely interested in reading it. I'm pretty sure I did because I had it on my Kindle, so I could just as well get that read. But that's a really old Harlequin romance that was also free on that day. Next up I got Billy and Me by Joanna Fletcher. This is the first book I ever read by Joanna Fletcher, which is also her debut novel, and I think I got it pretty soon after she released it. This is Joanna Fletcher is Tom Fletcher's wife. Tom Fletcher I know from the band McFly, so obviously I was very interested in it because I've been seeing a lot of hype around it from Tom and Joanna, who I also followed at the time. And I read it and I really enjoyed it. I really loved it. It's a very good chick lit book, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Then I got Game Set Match by Jennifer Iacopelli. This is her first book in the Outer Banks Tennis Academy series. And this is a young adult romance that has 3 different romances working in this book. It's a duology, I think. At least there were 2 books in it. And I read this one and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I was very into it, all of the romances, and especially the first one we were introduced to. Then I have Anything He Wants, The Meeting by Sarah Fawkes. This is the novella, I read that, but then I also got Anything He Wants, the complete novel. Afterwards, after having read the novella and read all of it, and I think I gave it 3.5 to 4 stars. I'm not sure, but I definitely read it. It's a billionaire romance. I forget if it's like this girl, she gets hired to be his assistant, and with everything, and she has to be, as it's being called, with anything he wants, kind of thing, and it's very sexual. Yeah, it was one that came out in a time when 50 Shades of Grey was very hyped. And at the same time I also got In Flight by R.K. Lilly. This is the first book in the Up in the Air series, and I read this one and I actually enjoyed it. I remember enjoying this one more than the previous one that I read, but this was different because it wasn't like BDSM. If I remember correctly, it was more just like very smutty, but it was between this, again, a billionaire romance, but between this stewardess and this man who was a passenger on this flight, kind of thing. And they had this romance going on. Then I got Wake by Alyssa McMahon, the first book in the Wake trilogy. And this one, I know I hated it. I absolutely detested this book when I read it. And I have a review up on my channel, on my Goodreads page. I gave it 1 star and I was like, I don't understand why anyone loves this one. It's very fun to read it. But I really disliked it. I hated the writing style, and I didn't understand why this was so popular at all. It didn't work for me one bit. Next up I got Obsidian by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This one I read, I loved it, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. So this is an alien romance, like this follows this girl, she moves into this small town, and there are these sort of a little bit like Twilight, but these are just aliens. And but the banter between our main heroine and hero is just so much fun, because they absolutely detest each other, but at the same time they have this really heating tension between them, and it was so much fun reading that. The banter is just something I really enjoyed in that one. Next up, I got City of Fallen Angels by Cassandra Clare. Up until this point I had read the first 3, and I got this one, and I read this one as well. I think I gave it 4.5 stars, I don't remember exactly. The next one is the first one I haven't, no, it's not the first one, because we've already talked about the 2 Harlequin books that I haven't read. But I got Confessions of a Failed Anorexic by Michelle Cantrell, and I got this one for free. I don't know why I got it, but it was free, and I haven't read it, and I don't have any interest in reading it, because I've seen like the average rating on this one is like 2 stars, and so I'm not interested in reading that one. And everyone says that the reasons for why they don't like it, and it's definitely something that I don't think that I would jive with either. So next up, we got another one that I haven't read, and that is Persuasion by Jane Austen. And I'm not very interested in reading any classics right now, at least not Jane Austen. So I'm just skipping this one, but I'm letting you know I haven't read this one. And the same goes with the next one, which is Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. I also haven't read this one, but I have it on my Kindle. So again, they were free, because a lot of the classics are actually free sometimes, so you can get it for nothing, because no one has really the rights to that in that way. Next up, I got Wallbanger by Alice Clayton. This is the first book in the Cocktail series, and this one I've read the whole series, and I read this one especially, obviously, and I love this one. This is my favorite in the series. Like, it's like the best one there is in that series, but I really enjoyed it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It was so much fun. Then we have Groupie by Ginger Voigt. I don't know how to pronounce her surname. This is a rock and roll romance, and I think I rated it 4 stars, but when I'm thinking about it and how I felt about it at the time, I think I was very generous with that rating, because there are definitely some things in there that I didn't like. So a 3.5 to 3 stars is probably more my rating for that one. Next up, we have In the Band by Jean House. This is the first book in the Luminescent Juliet series, and this is also a rock and roll romance, but this is a college set one. We're following this girl who becomes a drummer in this band, and the endeavors that ensues, and I really enjoyed it. I read it so fast, and I gave it actually 5 out of 5 stars, so very happy I read this one. The next 3 books are from the same series, but I've read all of them, so let's talk about them together. They are Killer Cupcakes, Dying for Danish, and Murder, Money and Marzipan. These are the first 3 books in the Lexi Baker Bakery mystery. Lexi Baker Cozy Mystery series. Sorry. And this is obviously a cozy mystery following this girl called Lexi, who has this small bakery, and obviously murders happens all the time around her, so she has to try and solve the crimes, sometimes to try and remove any suspicions towards her. But I really enjoyed them. They were a lot of fun. I think I gave the first one 4 stars, the second one 3 stars, and the third one 4 stars as well. But I really enjoyed it. The next one I haven't read, and that is Stone Cold by Shell Douglas. This is the first book in the Music City Moguls series, and I think this is the first one we're going to add to my TBR, because I don't remember what it's about, but let's see if we can find it. Cassidy Rush just wants to escape her miserable life until she meets famed music producer Drake Elliott. He's everything a girl from the wrong side of the track should be foolish to hope for, but Drake helps her realize that she can have a life worth fighting for until she makes a mistake that could cost her everything. And this says, anyone stupid enough to betray Drake is destined to pay the price, especially when the culprit is wearing his engagement ring. He thought he could trust Cassidy, but when she proved wrong, he vows to make her pay. Revenge is sweet, but redemption is sweeter. So I don't know. I think that's the first one we've added to my TBR for the month. Then we'll see if it's anything good. The next one I have is When I Break by Kendall Ryan. This is another one I've read. It is also I forgot what type of romance it is, but it's definitely a very steamy one. I remember that, but I think I gave it 4.5 stars, so I definitely enjoyed it. Then we have First Night, The Seductive Nights by Julia and Clay, book 0.5. I read this one, and it was a very, very short novella, so I don't have a lot of opinion about it, but it was very, very steamy. So then we have Awaken by Brenda K. Davies. This is the first book in the Vampire Awakenings series. This is, I wonder how it is, because like it's a paranormal from that time. I get this was a lot of these are freebies because I didn't have any money at the time, so I mostly only get freebies. It says it's from mature readers, 18+, so it's definitely probably paranormal romance. It says, traumatized by her past and struggling to move on from it, Sarah has spent the past 3 years of college hiding herself from the world and content to stay that way. A chance encounter with Liam shatters her sheltered world, leaving her stunned and shaken by the strange feelings and emotions he raises in her, feelings she never thought she would be able to experience, and that frighten her in the intensity. Harboring a dark and deathly secret of his own, Liam knows that he should stay away from Sarah, that he will only bring her more hurt, but he is irresistibly drawn to her and unable to deny himself the pleasure of that only she can bring to him. But when their past collide with their present and Liam's true nature is revealed, will their love for each other be enough, or will they be torn apart forever? Yeah. But I'm actually intrigued, because I think I would jab with this one. It would be like so easy to read. So that's the second book. Then we're going into Rachel Mead. I got all of her books from the Georgina Kincaid series. So I got Succubus Blues, Succubus on Top, Succubus Dreams, Succubus Heat, Succubus Shadows, and Succubus Revealed, and I've read all of them, obviously. I gave the first 2 books 4 out of 5 stars. The third book I gave 4.5 out of 5 stars. Then I gave the third book 3.5. No, the fourth book 3.5 out of 5 stars. And then I gave the 5th book 4 stars and the 6th book 5 stars. So definitely preferred this last one. Then I have A Bridge to Love by Nancy Harkness. This is a romantic suspense, I believe, or is it just romantic? Hold on, no, just contemporary romance. And I remember reading this one. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, so I definitely enjoyed it, but I don't remember what it exactly entailed. I think one of them was constructing built bridges and stuff. Then we have The Pursuit of Passion by Liv Bennett. This is the 2nd book in the series, so I'm not going to read that one. And Becoming His Mate by Lillian Dante. This is a book from Douglas Mountain Shifters, and while I'm not really sure I want to read this one because I already have a paranormal romance on my TBR, so I might skip this one. We also have Fever, a Blood Moon Rising werewolf romance, so that's the same thing. This is by Lola Tyler. But we have Hairspray and Homicide by Cindy Bell, the first book in Becky the Beautician Cozy Mystery, book 1. I could read that because that would be a cozy mystery, so I'll have a contemporary romance, a paranormal romance, and a cozy mystery. So I think I'm gonna go with those 3 books. So we are stopping the look through of old books today with this one, but next time I'm definitely not going to get through that many books before I find a TBR, because now we're getting into the part where there's a lot of big gaps between where I've read something and where I haven't, so it'll probably be easier to determine what books I'm going to be reading. I'm very excited about this one because I think I can actually end up really enjoying them. So yeah, this was just a way of me to try and add some Kindle books to my TBR that has been on there for so long, and a good way of sort of diving in to see what you've read and what you haven't, and what do you actually have on your Kindle, because it's easy to forget when you have so many titles. I think I have 500 to 600 titles on my Kindle, where I think at least 400 of them are unread, so I don't know. We'll have to, hold on, I can find that out. So I have 771 books and 42 documents. Documents I think are arcs. that comes from outside of Kindle store, and I've read 146 of them. I have 771 books, and maybe I have 625 unread books on there. So you see, I have a lot of books that I need to get to at some point, and I thought this was a good way of trying to sift through those that I'm actually interested in reading still, and those that I'm not, and I won't feel bad about not reading them. So anyway, this was my video this video. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought of this idea, and if you've ever done something similar. Do you have a lot of Kindle books as well that you never get around to, and what has been on your Kindle the longest that you haven't read? That would be very interesting to see if you have that. This was everything I had for you today, so definitely if you like this video, please give a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video very soon. Goodbye.